This will be for the con exercise, write equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. So before we begin, you want to remember that parallel lines have the same slope and perpendicular lines have negative reciprocal slopes. Okay, there's two steps to finding the negative reciprocal. Step one is to flip it or take the reciprocal, and step two is to change the plus minus sign. So we'll be doing that in this exercise. So there's two line equations. We'll be using the standard slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, slope being represented by the letter m. It will be the coefficient on the x term. And then there's point slope form. Once again, the slope is represented by the letter m, and one point that the line passes through is represented by x1 and y1. That is the coordinates of the point, of any point that the line passes through. Finally, for the horizontal and vertical lines that pass through a given point, you just take the x coordinate and say x equals that number. In this case, x equals -2. And the y coordinate, you can say y equals that number. In this case, y equals 5. So those would be the vertical and horizontal lines that pass through that point. And also you want to remember that horizontal and vertical lines are perpendicular with each other. So if you drew a horizontal line and you drew a vertical line, this is the vertical line, this is the horizontal line, and they are perpendicular with each other. They make a right angle to each other. Problem 1, write the equation of a line that is parallel to y equals 1/2 x minus 4 and passes through 9, -6. So since this is the point that the line passes through, immediately I'm going to make that point x1 and y1. Okay, so x1 is 9 and y1 is -6. So we're going to be using the equation for point slope form. Since we're looking for the equation of the parallel line, if you recall, has the same slope. So this is in the form of y equals mx plus b. We can see the slope is the number multiplied by x. So we're just going to keep the same slope. So in place of m, we're just going to keep the 1/2. And then we have x minus x1. So that's going to be x minus 9. And on the other side, we have y minus y1. So it's going to be y minus -6. Final answer. Now, con will accept it with two negatives in a row. However, I suggest, just so you have a good habit, when you have the two negatives in a row, you just make it positive. Okay? So I'm going to enter y plus 6 equals 1/2 x minus 9. Okay, y plus 6, and that equals fraction 1/2 parentheses x minus 9. Write the equation of a line that is perpendicular to y equals -1, and that passes through the point 8, -4. So y equals -1, if we look at our y-axis, -1 would be approximately right there. So that line is y equals -1. Okay, and the perpendicular line is going to be x equals some number. The perpendicular line is going to be x equals a number. Okay, and the way to find that number is to look at the point that the line passes through. And we can see right here, the x coordinate is 8. So that's it. It's just x equals 8. Final answer. On the graph, if you looked at the x-axis and you went approximately to x equals 8, the line would be like so. And as you can see, it makes a right angle with this horizontal line. So it's perpendicular. X equals 8. So just click in the box and type x equals 8. Please make sure you write x equals. If you just type 8, it will not accept it. Write the equation of a line that is perpendicular to y equals 7/5 x plus 6 that passes through the point 2, -6. Okay, since the new line passes through this point, immediately I'm going to mark the point x1 and y1. Now, since the new line is perpendicular, we're going to have to take the negative reciprocal. So again, there's 2 steps for the negative reciprocal. You want to flip it and change the plus minus sign. So right here is our slope. Okay, that's 7/5. And to get the negative reciprocal, you want to flip it. So that's going to be 5/7. And then change the plus minus sign. This is positive, so now this is negative. So this right here is going to be the new slope. You can say new m if you like. So once again, using point slope form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Just take the slope and plug it in place of m. So that's going to equal -5/7 times x minus x1. So that's going to be x minus 2. And then for the y's, y minus y1 is going to be y minus -6. Okay, and of course the 2 negatives make it positive. So for perpendicular, you have to take the negative reciprocal of the slope and plug it in. And of course, plug in the point. Y plus 6 equals -5/7 x minus 2. Y plus 6 equals -5/7. Click on the right, parentheses, x minus 2. So that's it. Finally, I would just like to mention, if the slope is in the form of a decimal, you want to convert it to a fraction. Okay, so if their slope is, say, 0.25, you want to make that 1/4. Okay, if the slope is 0.3, you want to make that 3/10.